went up on the sidewalk and jumped the curb and went out and Champion Dunwoody. It's just after that, the two women.
Hope it wasn't my wife.
This lady was brunette.
Okay, good.
Just after she went off the curb, there were two ladies with strollers coming around by the library down the Walmart.
Yes, sir.
I have a suggestion for city council. If they wouldn't, let's pave all the roads, get all the roads paved to all of the citizens' satisfaction, and then let's talk about the roundabout.
Yes.
Let's call priorities. Let's prioritize it.
Yes, sir. The question I have is, when we tried to pave Vermac, and they stopped at Village Mill, and they didn't go any further, and they need all kinds of help near the high school.
Right.
Which is terrible. So instead of continuing the paving, they want to build sidewalks on the other side of Vermac, and I really question, what was the motive for that, and I didn't even know where that came from. That wasn't on any agenda that I ever saw. One of the suggestions...
Repaving Lower Vermac?
Sorry?
Repaving Lower Vermac? You say it wasn't on the agenda, specifically repaving Lower Vermac?
Right. It wasn't on the agenda, and the sidewalks weren't there.
Right.
And so, one of the things I'd like to suggest is that you hold these meetings about every quarter, so that if things aren't happening, and we can't control all the things that happen, that we can have our say again, and you can get a feeling of whether we're satisfied with what's going on in our area. If you don't, it's going to be pretty difficult to talk to everybody that's in here that has a problem. That roundabout has been going on now for a long time. And I too have lived in places, Massachusetts and Hilton Head. Roundabouts are only put in places where there's high traffic areas, mostly commercial. They're not put in neighborhoods. And the thing that's going to happen there is you're going to have to cut into 3 different properties there to make them big enough to make the turns. So I can't even imagine anybody looking at that had any sense that would think that that was not going to happen. You're going to have 3 people going to sue the city as soon as they start tearing off about a quarter of their property to make that roundabout. So some of the things that are happening don't make sense to me. And it's not communicated. I don't know where it is, but I don't see it.
Well, there are any number of folks who have heard the consultants say they didn't do a pedestrian study, they didn't know there were schools nearby, which I still...
Right. Well, they certainly didn't do their job.
So there was a lack of due diligence on some of the design, and there's no doubt about that. Yes, sir.
The city of Chambly is installing currently some small roundabouts that actually don't take up any more corner-to-corner space than the existing intersections. What they've done is they've made the center island about 12 feet in diameter, and they've made it a green space, and they've created a roundabout where there was a 4-way intersection before without affecting the corners. So that may be a solution if a roundabout is the right answer, which I agree is not.
Those are very low traffic areas.
Yeah, exactly. These are neighborhoods. These are neighborhood areas.
Yeah, that's a very different condition.
And I don't agree that the roundabout's the right solution at Vermac and Womack because of the safety issues. The other thing is, if you take nothing else away from this meeting, I want you to know about how this man communicates with his constituents and all of us, really, in the city. You need to, I don't know how your computer skills are, but if you haven't got them, you need to develop them, because every day I get a message from John, which keeps me abreast of what's going on in general throughout the city, and I don't hear from anybody else on a regular basis. And so I would like to suggest that if you want to be communicative with your constituents, take a lesson from John.
Okay, fair enough.
Piggyback on that, to make it a little bit easier. Most of us belong to some type of homeowners association. It's an excellent vehicle to get the word out without sending it to 10,000 people. So it's just something to consider.
since we're slowing down here, you know, anybody else have anything? Kind of quick, yes, sir.
We spent a lot of money over the last 5 years doing some things called master plans. What is the status of those master plans? Everything seems to change on a daily basis. Look around the park, the trails, the connectivity. I don't know whether the people in Georgetown realize that the original master plan for that area was going to connect to right now, Little Spring House.
The question was with respect to master plans and, you know, what is the status of all these master plans that we spent quite a lot of money over the last 5 years developing, and what are we doing with them? And it's a really good question. I don't have a good answer for you. You know, there was a key element to one of those master plans that we seem to have thrown out the window earlier this summer, and specifically I'm talking about adding a third lane to Mount Vernon. There was the stealth beginning of that third laning that was an integral part of one of the options on the Mount Vernon, Vermac, Manhasset intersection improvement. And it was one that, you know, the council voted to move forward with engineering on this. This happened in early July. They were going to start with 3-laning it from Vermac, Manhasset down to Vernon Oaks, which is the next street to the west towards the village, just past the entrance to St. Luke's parking lot off of Mount Vernon. And it looked to me like the beginning, sort of the beginnings of the 3-laning of Mount Vernon per the comprehensive transportation plan. People got wind of it, there was a lot of blowback, and that seems to have gone away, but, you know, so we seem to have repudiated what's in our comprehensive transportation plan, you know, just by the council's action, but it's nothing formal. That plan is still out there. So you bring up a great question. I don't have an answer for you. You know, I personally think we need to revisit some of these master plans, and that, you know, that element right there is a great example of one that doesn't seem to be, you know, an element of a master plan that doesn't seem to be operative anymore.
Is there a way to stop them?
I don't know.
If in fact the master plan isn't going anywhere, is there a way to just stop it, cut it off?
Well, yeah, I mean, you know, it takes 4 votes on the council. You know, they're not written in stone, and they can be changed.
It has been changed.
Right.
So there's
Huh? Right. They can be changed, they can be ignored, and we're clearly ignoring it. You know, we seem to be ignoring the 3-laning of Mount Vernon with what we seem to be doing on the Mount Vernon, Vermac, Manhasset intersection plan.
Isn't the parkway another example of ignoring the master plan?
I'm not sure, I'm not up on the details of what's in the master plan with respect to the parkway, so I can't speak to that.
Jim, to follow up on the connectivity, instead of a 12-foot wide monster truck path that runs from Brook Run Park all the way over to Perimeter Mall, how's that going to serve somebody over by Dunwoody High School to use that? When Dunwoody was, when I first came here, developers would come in, they'd develop their neighborhood, they'd run sidewalks a certain way, drive anywhere in Dunwoody and you'll see that. The sidewalk, you can go out of your home for a short while if you're fortunate enough to have one near you, and then it'll stop. And then you can't use a sidewalk for a while, and then use it again. Instead of using the money, City Council, to build a 12-foot wide monster truck path through Dunwoody, take the existing sidewalks you have on main thoroughfares at least, and connect them so that you can go all the way from one part of Dunwoody to another using several different sidewalks along the way. If they were all connected like that, you wouldn't need to be thinking about some grandiose east-west corridor from Perimeter Mall Commercial District all the way to the east side of our city. Thank you.
do not think that we need bicycle lanes on Mount Vernon. Speaking of Mount Vernon, that to me would be a tragic waiting to happen. I don't know if that's been shelved or not, but I just wanted to say, I just think Mount Vernon has too much traffic to even think about bicycle done to the house to help maintain it. There was a flood upstairs and the steps were ruined. But that is on the National Register of Historic Places. If we can clean that place up, straighten it out, the contract now is with the Dunwoody Preservation Trust to manage that, operate it. The city does have, I understand, maybe $250,000 that they could pass on to the Dawson Vanity property as they did for the Dunwoody Nature Center a year or 2 years ago. But please do anything you can in talking with your council people, the mayor, Dunwoody Preservation Trust people. If you have any funds available at the end of the year that you would like to donate for a tax donation, the DPT is a 501c3 organization, and they would love to have some help. The work that needs to be done there, I've heard numbers in the $2 million range. So it would be a wonderful place, cleaned up and saved for Dunwoody residents to enjoy. It would be, it's just a diamond in the rough. And it's history. It's a wonderful place. Thank you.
All right, well, I think we're kind of wrapping up. I'd like to, again, thank everybody for coming out on a kind of a nasty, rainy night. I hope everybody learned something. I know I sure did, and that's, really what this was about, is so I could hear from you folks, the things that are on your mind, the things to carry into council here at the first of the year, and I appreciate you, you coming out and providing your input, and, I hope to serve you well in the coming year. Thank you very much.